We about to open up a whole can of primatology discussion. So sit your candy ass down, because it's monkey time, bitch. Gorilla Radio. Turn that shit to a reasonable volume so as to be considerate of others.
Monkeys go directly to hell.
I can absolutely do the voice.
For an hour and a half straight? Okay. Prove it.
I think
I think you hit the maximum allowance for that voice last episode. You're gonna have to rest it for a while.
You have to be aware that woke is dead, and we can't be so willy-nilly anymore.
Okay, well, on that note, though, welcome to episode 84 of Gorilla Radio Show.
Do you have a Latino name now, Chandra?
A Latina name?
Yeah, based on your haircut. I'm thinking something Honduran.
My barber is Honduran.
Of course your barber is Honduran, I can tell.
Yeah, my barber is Honduran.
Welcome to episode 84 of Gorilla Radio Show. Let's give seals guns.
And we're not talking Navy SEALs.
Of course we're not talking. They should be given no guns. They should be sent into war zones with no guns.
They should be, in fact,
they should just
euthanized.
have to put their fingers in the bad guys' barrels to stop the bullets from coming out. And be like, and then like put a flower in the barrel too. That'll stop them. It's gonna be
so funny when they get blown away.
Yeah, mostly because of that.
Covered in fucking black soot on their face. Uh-oh.
I didn't know Justin Trudeau was in the Navy SEALs.
He was. He was in the Bay Pigs invasion.
So, this episode was kind of Greg's idea. So, do you want to take the lead on getting this episode started, Greg? Because
I have scrawled in the episode notes. This is the first time I've added something substantive to the episode notes in like 4 or 5 months. So
this is the first time. I haven't added anything to episode notes since
Chandran's
Congo.
never added a fucking episode note once in their fucking
not
mental
since
notes.
Congo. I just show up.
So I'm gonna read you guys my late night train of thought here that I wrote down. I'm gonna kind of paraphrase it mostly.
No, read it verbatim.
No,
it's pretty funny if you read it verbatim.
We're gonna dip off normal monkey chat. We're gonna talk a little about seals. Okay,
the monkeys will come into play.
The monkeys will come back later, but they're not important to this first part. I want everybody at home to also know that I think we all know that Austin works at an aquarium. Okay, which sets something off in my head. I don't know. Jaden and I have been sitting in our living room and watching TV lately. And on HBO, there's a wonderful show. Everyone should be watching this, honestly. It's just called Aquarium, and it's 2 seasons long, and it's just camera people following around the daily life of the people who work at the Georgia Aquarium. It is maybe my favorite TV show ever. It's not funny. It's not serious. It's nothing. It's just them following it. They're just doing aquarium shit. I love this shit so fucking much.
They should do that
I'll
for
have
my
some
work.
questions for Austin later. But he's not supposed to be talking right now. But
okay.
Put him on a gag order, folks.
The real thing that I loved the most about this show is the seals. All right. I don't know if you guys know much about the pinnipeds.
I'm familiar with pinnipeds. You could say.
I think I've heard the word once.
They are wonderful fish dogs. Okay, they are absolutely adorable, wonderful fish dogs who eat like their body weight in fucking disgusting rotten fish every single day.
It's not
I don't
rotten,
give a
dude.
shit
It's freshly
about
thawed.
any of that. Now, it got me Googling while I was watching the show because they're always talking to the seals and the sea lions and shit. And, like, especially these California sea lions who are, like, the cute ones. They're always just, like, hanging out, sitting there, they're petting them on the head and stuff, and, like, they listen to what you're saying. They're like German shepherds. Anyway, so I did some research on, like, why the fuck have we not, made these guys into pets, right? Like, why are we not?
Because I can think of a couple of reasons.
I can think of a few reasons, but also I can think of a million others that would make them awesome pets. So I did some research. And when you go on to the Pinnipeds Wikipedia page, you get a couple of things. First off, I'm not the first person to think about why have we not made these guys into pets. The first person was Francis Galton, not friend of the show, but we have definitely talked about him a few times before, in that he is the fucking creator of eugenics. He coined the term eugenics. Okay?
Noted.
He was a lot of things in his time, a lot of things. The first scientific racist, the eugenics guy, and also something that only exists in the 19th century, a polymath, all right? So clue you guys in on what a polymath is. It's essentially what happens when you let somebody with autism not have a job and go to school for their whole life and just be the expert in a bunch of things. That's what polymath is. They're just somebody who knows a bunch of shit. He is described, though.
It's not a job anymore.
As a polymath. Yeah, it's not a job anymore unless you can find, like, a rich patron. It's something that only existed when rich patrons would fund your lifestyle. Anyway, to key us all back in, he's a really racist, really old shithead who was also highly intelligent. So do whatever you want about that. Some of Francis Galton's other main inventions outside of being racist were he created the first weather map, as we would understand it, of like wind and precipitation and rain. He invented this. He also
invented wind, precipitation, and rain.
He invented the map, the weather map. He also proposed the first theory around the formation of anticyclones, which are high latitude hurricanes. So, like when a hurricane blows past, once it levels Florida, it goes up to Canada or whatever, it doesn't stop spinning. It just becomes a different type of cyclone, a different type of storm.
She moved her.
And then those tend to slam into England, and because this guy was English, he figured them out.
He solved
Anyway, don't give a shit about that. I don't care about that. More importantly, he wrote some book on domestication, which I can't find. I looked for it for fucking an hour and a half. You click on the footnote for it, it takes you to somebody else's book who references his book, and then if you try to find his book even further, I can't find it anywhere. Either way, he did...
You gotta get one of those... You gotta get a library or university job to get access to those ancient texts.
You do. So anyway, in this book, at some point...
Interlibrary loan.
On domestication, where he speaks about the domestication of everything from, like, wolves to cows, his quote is, seals were a spectacular example of an animal that would most likely never be domesticated, despite their friendliness, survivability, and desire for comfort, because they would have served no practical use to humans. That's what's on the pinnipeds page. So that all of that took us to here.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And then following up on why haven't we done this, another famous person who I can't tell if he's racist or not, but he lived in the 1800s, so probably. Georges Cuvier, the father of modern paleontology.
Definitely racist. Hold on. No doubt about it, dude.
I think we've also spoken about Cuvier on the show, I think.
He's got a fun name. I would remember saying it.
I think we've done it. Because we talked about paleontology before. Either way, he also noted that they were second only to monkeys in their ability to be trained and their overall friendliness.
Well, that's...
Are monkeys particularly trainable?
Yes. It's their level of intelligence, I think, is what he's talking about.
Yeah, but I mean, intelligence is not the same as trainability.
You can okay, here's the thing.
Nope.
You can train... We'll get into this later. You can train a monkey to do some pretty complicated tasks. That doesn't mean it's easy to train them. Like, I don't know if trainability is the right word there.
That's what the quote was. So I don't know, man. You talk.
I'm not picking a fight with you. I'm picking a fight with Mr. Cuvier.
Well, Cuvier's been dead for 110 years. But...
Well, so I guess you gotta fucking defend him and have this battle with me.
I don't.
Okay, then where are his defenders? Point me in their direction.
Anyway,
send me forth.
This is where Austin is going to be allowed to talk. So I have two things. First thing, I'm going to tell you both the questions before I let you start, because we'll get so sucked down on these tangents. First, I'd really like to meet a sea lion, hang out, maybe have a beer. They seem like cool things to hang out with, even if they do liquid shit everywhere all the time. They seem cool. Second, you're the aquarium boy now. Why does the Georgia Aquarium keep killing their fucking whale sharks?
So first thing, are you sure you are talking about sea lions and not seals?
I'm talking California sea lion.
Okay, California sea lions, you're going to want to hang out with the female California sea lions.
That's
the males, yeah, the males, they'll do some crazy shit to you. They'll do something crazy to you. They don't give a fuck.
They gonna put your ass. They gonna turn your ass over. They gonna stick it up in the air. They gonna be all up in there. They gonna be digging.
They're gonna have your ankles at your ears, bro.
I can't wait.
Sorry,
All right.
are male sea lions like rapists? Like, is this a real thing?
They're
bigger
just generally
too.
more aggressive. To my understanding, I mean, we literally only have females, and to my understanding, have only ever had females at this facility. I think because the males are just aggressive.
I see.
And if dolphins are anything to go by, that aggression probably translates.
Uh-huh. Are boy seals okay? Are seals fine?
Oh yeah, boy seals are fine. Well, because seals, if they escape, they aren't even like labeled as a threat to human visitors because the most they can do is just sort of. I believe the motion that they make on land is
Aggressively
called.
waddle at you.
They galumph, where they just sort of like they inchworm forward really slowly.
How do sea lions move? Can they
have
Oh, sea lions. Okay, so
can they like properly like ambulate?
They can like locomote. They have like
yeah.
legs.
Okay, here's the thing about the difference between seals and sea lions that will illustrate what they will do to you. So seals they're like the tube shape where they have like the short little fins at their side. They can just sort of like slap their bellies and not much else.
Yeah.
And then at their tails sort of turn into like a mermaid tail where it fuses into like a uni flipper at the end. Not like actually unified, but it's fused where it just moves up and down to, propel them
Hence
forward.
the galumping.
Yeah.
Hence the galumphing. California sea lions, they have large front flippers that are able to support their whole body weight. So they can do like handstand walking, but they don't have the fused hips like seals have. They have like the individually moving flippers at the back. So they can stand up on them and essentially run on all fours at, I think, 26 miles an hour on land.
Which is awesome.
Which is so scary because they can schmoove. They can put in that work. But yeah, no, so if sea lions escape at an aquarium or a zoo, they are labeled as a threat to human visitors. If seals, I don't know. I mean, I think harbor seals, are they also in California or are they like...
Yeah.
Okay,
they're also up there on my list of I want to be friends with.
Yeah, they're cool to be friends with. There's some security camera footage of a seal just like wetly slapping across a parking lot, digging through a trash, and then wetly slapping his way back to the ocean. They just move real slow. They're really chill. They can be aggressive. Like the two boys at our aquarium, they get into fights and they like mount each other for dominance and stuff. But
what do they feel like?
I've never felt a dry one, but the wet ones are very like slick and sleek. It feels kind of like I don't even know how to describe it. It feels like the smooth part of a dog's forehead, kind of.
Okay.
You know?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Like it's like silky almost.
Yeah, it's a little silky but firm.
Hold on, I'm
Okay.
watching a security cam footage video of Schubert the seal. It's just a grainy video of a parking lot and the seal galumphing back and forth, slowly being followed by a cop just like walking casually behind them. Because the seal
You know what the
walked into
containment protocol for these guys if they get out is we get 2 boards, like little plastic boards, and you just sort of direct them. Back in the other
Just shoot them
direction. They
into
can't really do
into
anything
the
about it.
enclosure.
That's cool as shit.
How do these guys survive in the wild?
They eat.
I guess they
fish.
live in the water and they
Yeah,
eat
They
fish.
get
swim.
eaten by polar bears
True.
and orcas.
Can sea lions fight back?
No, not in a way that matters.
They can jump out of the water and escape.
Not the polar bear.
So sea lions can jump way further out of the water to escape from orcas and stuff, but seals are just fucked. Yeah.
Seals, they die. But anyway,
Yeah.
let's go full circle back here. I love the aquarium show so much. I learned so many things about fish. Also, they're just so cool. It just seems like a chill job. Although the whole time I was watching, I was like, damn, everybody here making $21.30 an hour.
Yeah,
Nobody here
Georgia
doesn't have roommates.
Aquarium pay glass door. $34,000 a year.
You gotta move
That's
to
like
Georgia.
that's like $17 an hour.
That is $17 an hour, yes.
Dude, you could go work with the seals.
I'm just so.
Did
I'm
y'all
so
hear
tired
that
of-
the Georgia Aquarium whale shark died?
That's what I'm fucking on about, Chandran. Why does the Georgia Aquarium keep killing them? Because they're supposed to live like 80 years, and they've had like 6 now, and none of them live
That
past
can't
30.
be true. That's not true.
It
This is the
can be
first one that
true.
died,
I do have
right?
an answer for this,
No.
unironically.
No, it's the first one
I
that
do
died.
unironically have an answer for this. So, in the wild, whale sharks can live from 70 to 130 years. In captivity, they are really, like, they do not live well in captivity. The longest a whale shark has ever lived in captivity is 26 years.
Really? Is it just because they're so fucking big?
They just do not survive in captivity very well at all, which maybe they're going to... I don't know if the Georgia Aquarium is planning on, like, phasing them out, but they just really do not live well in
They
captivity.
built that whole fucking aquarium for the fucking whale shark.
They're fighting a losing battle, unfortunately, it seems.
They're just going to have to keep getting new ones.
I mean, the idea behind modern aquariums is partially just to, like, breed new ones so that they can have a stock. It's like proboscis monkeys, where only one zoo in China has been able to successfully keep them alive, and we don't even know, because it's, like, relatively recent. We don't know how long that's going to last.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Some animals survive really well in captivity, others not even in the slightest. Like penguins. Penguins have a lifespan of like 15 years in the wild, but in captivity they can live to be at least 40, just because nothing's eating them.
Penguins seem to thrive in
They love that
zoos.
shit.
Well, because they don't have to do anything. They don't have to hunt for their... When penguins get old in the wild, they get arthritis and they can't catch fish anymore, so they starve and die. Or like a slightly larger animal eats them. In captivity, they don't got to worry about nothing, so they just chill until they die of cancer or something, usually.
So
Imagine being the first penguin to die of cancer.
I'm gonna be the first person.
Yeah, the first person.
Yep, it's gonna take me out at the ripe old age of I think 99.
You're gonna get to be the first person to get eaten by an orca. Actually, that's not true either.
Nobody's
Has anyone been eaten by
an
a...
orca.
You can't prove
Has anyone been eaten by an
that. In the
orca?
history of humanity?
No confirmed records, but there is a story of a fatal encounter in the 1950s, apparently.
I don't believe it. I don't believe anything that happened during Jim Crow.
Damn. You know what? That's a good policy, though.
In 1972, a surfer was bit and required 100 stitches, but he lived.
Okay.
Where is the source for this
Trixie
1950s
and
one?
I'm looking up all the...
Is that
Yeah,
fake?
dude,
Damn.
all those whale sharks fucking died.
They
That's what I'm
die
telling you.
crazy. They're dying crazy style.
Also, here's my other question. All right, Austin. So the one who just died, Taroko, he didn't die in the tank. I mean, he died in the tank, but he didn't die.
They euthanized him.
How the fuck do you put down a whale shark?
Drugs.
You know, I was present for, not really present, I was just sort of
You were the witness.
physically employed when an animal was euthanized at the aquarium. And I don't, like, I think they just use the dog method where they just put it to sleep with a certain amount of drugs and then pump a crazy amount of painkillers to overload the heart.
Yeah, I
Which,
know
like-
that's how you put down like a seal, right? But like, the whale shark was like 50 feet long and weighs tens of tons. What are they killing it with?
I mean, I can't
Honestly,
imagine
at
the
that
heart
point-
was that big, though, you know? Like,
It's
how big could the
probably-
heart possibly be?
Well, let's Google that one real quick.
How
Let's
How
ask
big
ChatGPT.
is a whale shark.
I bet the people at the
I don't
Georgia
think there's any
Aquarium
publicly
could-
available information.
Could write a great paper about that.
Wait, hold on. Reddit, I'm seeing something on Reddit. Oh, what the hell? I'm just seeing the preview, but it says smaller aquatic animals are euthanized by dissolving a chemical called MS-222 into their water. I don't think that's what they're doing for the whale shark, but
Well, they maybe separated the whale and then killed it.
I
Well,
don't know.
no, they can't. There's nowhere to separate him.
Well, he's dying anyway. Who cares? Just put him in a big puddle.
You
Yeah,
can't
I
separate
actually
them because
don't
there's too
know.
many. Like that tank was built for them to be in. There's no other tank that they can go in. If you dissolve it in the water, you're going to kill everything in there.
Exactly.
I genuinely don't know what the shifting procedure for such a large aquatic animal would be.
The shifting procedure?
Shifting procedure?
Shifting is like when you physically separate one animal from the rest of the animals in its enclosure and move it to a backup enclosure.
Yeah, but there is no backup enclosure for them. I watched the fucking show. Their enclosure is their enclosure. They're too
They
big
gotta
to
have
move
it.
to somewhere else, and they're sharks. They're not very smart. Like they don't really go where you
must
want them
have
to.
some other option.
I don't want to speculate too much on how they manage this, but I don't know. I mean, there on the Facebook post it shows the Georgia Aquarium person like with their hand on top of the shark, like in the water. So like maybe if they get close enough, they can just like inject him.
Yeah, but they when they were doing stuff in the show to the whale sharks, like drawing blood or something, right? They had to swim alongside him. They had like a rowboat that you pull across on a rope across the surface of that pool, and then like a diver below swimming, grabbing onto him and holding on and like drawing blood. But you can't kill him with like a vial, like a regular syringe this big. He's huge.
They might have just done several syringes.
And slowly killed him?
Listen, man, I don't want to think about it too much. I don't know, man.
But I'm trying to figure out, okay, like how do you kill a fish? You can hit it on the head really hard. Can't do that.
Squash it.
Well, I already said they usually use like a chemical.
But they
like,
can't use
it's
that
too
chemical.
long.
I think you
on
know
him.
what? If you kill the damn shark, you gotta take it out of the fucking thing anyway, right? So why not just throw him out in the parking lot for a little while, let him suffocate?
Oh,
Silent.
no.
Well, that's what I was thinking about. The suffocation method is like,
But that's inhumane.
I know, but that's what I'm thinking is like, do they corner him so he can't swim forward and breathe, or what? Because they don't ever stop moving.
You don't know that.
Like if a shark stops swimming, it dies.
You can't prove that. You don't know that's true. That's what they said
Google
in the kids
that
movie.
right now.
They said it in the kids movie, man. You don't know that's real.
How do you
I don't know. I can ask at work tomorrow. That will come as no comfort to our viewers, but at least I'll know. You can rest easy knowing that I'll hold this knowledge from now on.
Like, I know they pulled his ass out of there, like, on a crane. Like, there's a crane. You can see it in the show, like, how they got the whale sharks in. It's clearly also how they get them out.
I'm going to have to ask, because I genuinely have no idea beyond that chemical that they would, like, because, yeah, that does seem like it would be really hard. Okay, so, unlike monkeys, who the Air Force unsuccessfully trained to disarm bombs and sabotage Soviet tanks, the U.S. government did try much harder to militarize marine mammals.
They did indeed.
There's a long history of it. We've mentioned it briefly before, but one thing that showed up on Twitter recently that I actually didn't know about that was really funny is the NYPD had a training program for harbor seals where they were expected to retrieve guns from the bottom of bodies of water, like, I don't know, what's the river in New York?
The Hudson?
Okay, I was going to say the Hudson River, but I didn't want to be wrong.
How?
The bottom of, like, the Hudson River and shit. They wanted to release seals into that water, have them search for guns, and pull them out in exchange for food.
Hold on, that'd be such a better use of the fucking New York Police Department's funding.
Exactly. I don't know why they stopped it.
It is inhumane to make an animal a cop, though.
The New York Times, June 17th, 1987, by William E. Geist. About New York, Bronx seascape, seals taught to dive for guns. Welcome to the undersea world of the Bronx. That's what the man said, and the people went inside, a few of them half expecting to see aquariums filled with rusty oil drums, assorted garbage, and muggers wearing snorkels. Jesus, what the fuck is... I didn't even read that part. Okay, so... basically, the Northwind Undersea Institute on City Island in the Bronx was training SEALs to retrieve a .38 caliber revolver thrown into their water tanks. In return, Joy Ross, their trainer, gives them fresh herring. Quote, "It's one of those herring for guns deals."
Oh.
One of those. It's a part of a comprehensive program, explained Michael Sandlofer, director of the Institute, which is self-described as a non-profit environmental educational organization to train these mammals to do a wide variety of police work. What a funny, obvious tax haven, like tax evasion bullshit thing that the police were doing in the 80s. Running an educational non-profit to train SEALs to do police work.
This is the first time they've euthanized a whale shark.
Really?
They invented it.
All the other ones died. That's why I can't find anything about how they did it, because this is the first time I've ever done it.
Well, how did they do
Novel
it?
innovations happening in the
The other ones
aquarium game.
just straight up died.
Do you think it's interesting that you joined the industry, Austin, and then immediately they start euthanizing whale sharks?
You killed Taroko, dude.
I did not. This is not the miasma's doing.
They're doing a necropsion.
I don't think this is like miasma. I think this is just like fate. I think there's something tied up in your fate.
You think the threads of fate are pulling animals towards euthanization?
Because of you, yeah.
I don't think that's true.
There is a plan for all of God's creatures.
So, back to the article. Mr. Sandlofer said he thinks seals can be trained to retrieve handguns tossed into New York waters, as well as drugs and other contraband. Which, wishful thinking, buddy.
Folks, if you commit a crime with a weapon, leave the weapon at the crime scene. Okay? Do not leave your prints on it. Just leave the weapon at the crime scene, because if they have a weapon that can't be traced and they can't find it on you, they'll never put the murder on you, dude. Okay? Do not go.
Genius. Why has no one ever thought of this?
It's obvious. It's why whenever you watch a mob movie, they shoot the guy and they drop the gun. You know? Because if they have the gun on them, it's all over. It's busted. Al Pacino, when he shoots the guy in the restaurant, he drops the gun. Haven't you seen The Sopranos?
Mr. Sandlofer also says that the SEAL search and recovery team can be taught to take underwater photographs for bridge inspection and other purposes,
That's
and
cute.
to find submerged bodies, which can impede the navigation of New York pleasure boaters, among other things.
Hey, I'm trying to go on a pleasure cruise.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my rocks off here.
This corpse is blocking my path. What's the big idea?
Hey, I'm jacking off here.
Miss Ross wasn't too sure at first that she wanted to come to the Bronx to train SEALs, giving up her job in San Diego, where she trained sea lions for the Navy. To play anchors away on bicycle horns, perhaps? She can't talk about it. Whoa, did they not know in the 80s what they were doing with sea lions?
Is that where they got to put like the fucking radars on them or like the sonars on them or some shit?
Well, we'll get into it, but
Oh.
her first reaction when Mr. Sandlofer telephoned her was harbor seal? ? The sea
Harbor
mammal of
seal,
choice among members of the International Marine Mammal Trainer Association has always been the sea lion, which is probably, I realized this very quickly. I think the reason why sea lions are so well trained in like zoo and aquarium settings is because there is such a precedent for it, like with all of the research that's gone into it, especially for military training.
Mm-hmm. Also, I think seals and sea lions are cute. They just kind of raise the
so
morale
cool.
of everyone around them. How bad do they smell, though?
I guess sea lions are also more like mobile, and that makes it more useful, but they smell pretty bad. I think I've gone a bit nose blind to it, but also when we clean up the poop, I feel like it's not as bad. It's just they poop. They don't poop as much as the penguins, but you know, they still liquid shit everywhere.
They call me guano.
I hope they're not calling you that,
They
but
call me guano the way I got that shit on me.
that's pretty good. But yeah,
Charging the
I
vape.
mean, some of our listeners may be wondering, how are they even like? How do you even begin to train a seal or a sea lion? How would you even get to the point of taking a wild animal and then at some point later in the future, they are retrieving guns from the bottom of a pool in exchange for fish? How does that happen?
Well, they'll do anything for their fish, right?
I mean, yes, but less so than dogs, probably. So I think we've gone over the... No, I think we've gone over the basics of operant conditioning on the podcast before, but it's worth going over again. Like the basics of it are, you know, the reinforcement schedules and the sort of quadrant of reinforcement. There is positive reinforcement, which is increasing a behavior by adding a stimulus. Negative reinforcement, which is increasing behavior by removing a stimulus. Positive punishment, which is decreasing a behavior by adding a stimulus. And negative punishment, which is decreasing a behavior by removing a stimulus. So what that means is
Beating
positive
the
reinforcement.
fuck out that boy. Beating the brakes out that boy.
Well, actually, that's the thing. A lot of people think negative reinforcement is being mean to somebody to make them do something, but no. It's kind of the opposite. It is taking something away or removing something or not doing something in order to increase
If you were
and a strategy
adding the
or an
stimulus
activity.
of punching someone in order to decrease a behavior they were doing, that would be positive punishment.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what we do to Austin.
Precisely.
If you wanted to decrease a behavior by taking something away from them, that's called negative punishment. Like, you're grounded, I'm taking your Game Boy away.
Speaking from memory there, King.
If you wanted to increase a
Gam, put 'em in
behavior by
timeout.
removing a stimulus, such as, I'm going to take this big, scary-looking scarecrow out of your room because you got good grades on your test, that would be negative reinforcement.
That would be such a fucking great way to raise your kid.
That'd be a fun way
Just
to raise your
torment
kid.
them all the time and be like, you earned a day.
You
of
can make this
peace.
go away if you do good in school.
Make it stop anytime.
Just give me what I need. Just give me what I want, and it will all go away.
I have some demands.
But like, this is very, this is like universally.
Imagine that, hold on. Negative reinforcement, but if you be good, I'll stop drinking.
Jeez.
If you only would get A's, I wouldn't have to fucking drink.
Exactly, your
I
fucking
mean,
dad on the couch.
Well,
beat up.
that's the thing. Like,
If you weren't such a fuck up, I wouldn't have to drink so much.
like
It's your fault.
the 4 quadrants of operant conditioning explain a lot of manipulative behavior.
Austin's been studying.
It's super useful for training animals, but like, only positive reinforcement is the most effective and also the only one that's like ethical.
Excuse me, Austin.
Yeah,
Permission to completely derail this podcast for 15 minutes?
not that long. Why? No.
10 minutes. Can I have 10
Yeah,
minutes?
we'll give you 7.
What do you want to say?
So I was just thinking
We'll
when
give
you
you
were
a
talking
type
about
4.
when you were talking about manipulation. Anyway, it got me thinking about you as a man. And
Okay.
I meant to. We needed to follow up, Chandra. We needed to follow up on this because now it has been about a month, and I do need you to tell us what is the difference in load since you started the cum stack.
Oh wait, have you actually started the cum stack?
He's on the
Is that
cum
what
stack.
it's called?
That's what I'm calling it.
Yeah. Okay,
I-
how's it going?
We need it.
I will neither
right
confirm
now.
nor deny an increase in volume, an
Have
increase
you-
in recoil and firing recoil.
Recoil.
I will neither confirm nor
Please,
deny.
keep going. Into
Nobody
your
nobody
pelvis?
ever mentioned recoil. That's
Nobody was
all
talking
Austin.
about recoil.
So we know that's a confirmed thing. Recoil.
No,
up.
okay, no. Basically, positive reinforcement is the only real operant conditioning method used intentionally at basically every animal facility in the world. If it's not being used intentionally, it should be. Like, I've heard there's some zoos that don't bother training some of their animals, and they just sort of have to, like, go through a whole fucking process or, like, sedate them every time they want to, like, do something significant. The other 3 quadrants obviously are unethical to be used, so
That's what you think.
the only punishment for not doing a behavior correctly in captive animal training is just them not getting the treat, which I guess you could argue is maybe negative reinforcement because you're removing the stimulus, but not.
But you're not trying to
that
increase
kind
the
of-
behavior, so it's not.
Yeah.
That. It's
That's
negative
are-
punishment, I guess. Is it the worst?
Are zoos and aquariums woke?
Not anymore. No
I
more
did.
woke.
We mentioned this like 2 episodes ago, but I saw someone on Twitter say like zoos are completely taken over by woke and DEI nowadays. Always pushing liberal agendas. So like, I mean, in a sense, they're kind of probably woker than the average institution. But basically, the way that like training an animal works, like training a sea lion, it all starts with fundamentals, and typically that fundamental is target. Where did you see them use the target poles on the Georgia Aquarium?
Yeah,
show?
I love the targets.
Yeah, so basically, it's a very like easy thing to get started. Like you can say target and present the pole, and they're gonna be confused. But if you like, I don't know, boop their nose with the target pole, and then say good job and give them a fish, and like keep doing that, they're eventually gonna start reaching out for the target by themselves. And when they start reaching out to meet a target, you can make them follow that target somewhere else. You can make them follow it in a circle. You can make them follow it as you roll them onto their belly. You can make them like reach for it with their fin. You can make them do pretty much everything you can see a seal or a sea lion do at an aquarium. starts out with getting them to touch a pole in a certain position. That's like the basis of it all. But generally, like the other major use for this, because, seals and sea lions are like basically the only ones that still like perform and do quote unquote tricks as a part of their training. Like I can't think of any other animals that do that in zoo settings. I think it's just so like normalized and a part of tradition. If nothing else, there's such a precedent for marine mammal training in general that you can do hindsight justifications for like, oh, it's helping them burn calories, it's keeping them active, it's keeping them engaged. Whereas, if you saw like a monkey doing tricks for treats, you would be like, that's an intelligent creature. That seems unethical. But like no one really bats an eye when you see a seal or sea lion do it because just there's such a huge history and precedent of it. But basically, the other major use for training in animal facilities is voluntary veterinary care, which is making them comfortable with veterinarians being in the room, making them comfortable with veterinary equipment, and then actually
and
like
getting
desensitizing them.
So when it comes time for them to die, they can take them down.
I mean, most of the time it's desensitizing them for like vaccines and like blood drawings and x-rays, but I guess that's also a part of it. But, it just makes everyone's lives a lot easier when you don't have to, like, tranquilize a fucking moving target from, like, 20 feet away and then, honestly, go retrieve it.
Like you were saying this a couple minutes ago, it's insane that there's any properly accredited institution that is not positively reinforced or, like, training their guys. And honestly, I'm sure the AZA actually does check for this.
Yeah, I would hope so, but I feel like there's a couple of places getting by just on the skin of their teeth, I feel like.
I see.
Which makes you really question what the hell is going on in the zoos that aren't accredited, but, it's all like a case-by-case basis kind of thing, Sometimes it's just like, it's such a, historic zoo. Who's to say? So operant conditioning positive reinforcement works almost uncannily well with dogs because they're food-motivated creatures and they're also very eager to please humans. To give you an example, my grandma recently was given one of those crusty white dogs for some reason. Like, I just came home one day and she had it and she was like, oh yeah, Donna didn't want him. I was like, okay, what?
Fucking Donna.
Who's Donna?
I don't know if I've ever met Donna. So this dog freaks the hell out whenever a lawnmower is on. Like genuinely like freaking the hell out, like barking nonstop. I'm imagining
Austin having to do positive reinforcement with this crusty dog because every time he's jacking off, the dog is losing its mind.
Not true.
Why would that happen?
Every little noise does set him off. It's not just...
How do you think it's getting so crusty, Chandra?
Oh, shut the hell up, man. Not funny, dude.
Dick in one hand, dog treats in the other.
You're gonna have to... You're gonna have, he's saying, target! And he's got peanut butter on his dick.
Oh, my God!
Target! Good job!
Jesus,
I watched the aquarium show. I know how they feed the fucking seals. We're gonna force Austin to have to come out and do like an Onision style "I did not fuck my cat" type apology.
That was Shane Dawson.
Oh, aren't those the same guy?
No,
you would think so.
Weird. I thought those were the same guy. We're gonna fuck you up so bad you're gonna have like an H3 type thing where you become a Zionist and get real fucking aggressive about it.
Dude, H3 is insane shit to see on Twitter these days. Insane to see clips of that shit.
So what I have started doing is basically rewarding the dog. I've started rewarding the dog for staying calm while the lawnmower is passing by because I know he's barking because he's just anxious as hell. And so it's important that like by giving him treats, he starts to associate the lawnmower being on as this is my opportunity to remain calm so that I can get treats rather than this is the time I have to freak out because of the scary loud noise.
Mm-hmm.
Most people's first reaction is that, oh, the dog or the animal generally is going to start acting like a spoiled brat and just start barking until you give them a treat, like do reverse psychology on you, which is like something that monkeys do. Like they do kind of figure that out.
My fucking cats do that.
Yeah,
they do.
Your cats
do it too.
Horn dog screams like he is dying if I don't feed him 2 hours early.
Concrete does it pretty consistently.
But that's why it's important to have what's called a bridge, where usually it's clicker training, where people get a clicker and click whenever something correct is done to indicate that they have done the intended behavior. First, you got to start out by like just clicking and then giving them a treat so that they know the clicker means treat. You could also just say like okay or good boy or something like that. Primates, though, are very smart, which dogs are too, but primates are, arguably more smart, very stubborn, and very ambivalent to human caretakers. And they do exploit this, I think. How much of this is like malice and exploiting this, and how much of this is just like you could be training them better, or something else is impacting this?
These guys are kind of wily. They're monkeys, man.
So, like, to give you an example, I think I've talked about this on the podcast before, but there would come a time at the chimpanzee sanctuary where we would have to transfer them from one part of the enclosure to the other and then block that part off so that we could go in and clean without getting our hands and face ripped off by a chimpanzee. Which, speaking of which, I had a coworker who, when I told him I worked with chimpanzees, he was like, "Oh, I heard about this guy who a chimp grabbed his face and in one hand motion just pulled his entire face off." And I was like, "Cool." That's awesome.
That's kind of a baller thing to say to your coworker.
Yeah, a coworker that you're just acquainting yourself with for the first time. Hell yes, dude.
Honestly, I would say something like that. I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I mean, it's the podcast has negatively affected me."
Yeah.
I heard of a chimp who went on the cum stack and killed his handlers.
You're trying to make it so that I have to include the cum stack in the episode.
Well, the cum stack obviously gets included in the episode. I think the cover art should be that picture you sent us of all the pills on the car seat.
No, okay, so
are you actually erasing all the cum stack from the episode because you're embarrassed you're on the cum stack?
Or are you erasing it because you haven't yet done
it goes on for
scientific
too long.
study?
I can include a very small segment on it, but it goes on.
Also,
Why would you include such a small
potentially-
segment on such a large load?
You're kind of selling yourself short. Now, maybe I will actually step on your toes because you have a big reveal planned in the future, and you have a very elaborate bit lined up.
He's gonna start an episode by just coming directly onto the camera.
Our first
wow,
episode.
that's a lot.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Gorilla Radio Show. We're starting our video episode series. Austin logs on.
Austin
Target! Nails the bucket camera dead on.
So we would be shifting these chimpanzees, right? And there would be some holdouts. There would always be some holdouts where they would just huddle in a corner and not want to leave that enclosure, and we'd have to bribe them with increasingly large cups of peanut butter to convince them to leave the enclosure so that we could lock it and then go in and clean. Part of this is like they're more intelligent. They know that they can sort of like escalate their demands and keep getting higher rewards for holding out longer. But part of this is also I've come to have a bit of a changing philosophy on this. I think I'm attributing too much malice or forethought to these chimpanzees in particular. I've noticed with like every animal in human care settings that their anxiety skyrockets whenever a door is closed. Like if a door is normally open and they have free access between two rooms, if you close that door for any reason, they perceive that as I'm trapped. I gotta freak the fuck out. So like they hate shifting, even if it's like not a big deal. It's just one corner of the enclosure. We're going in to clean. They hate that because they're like, oh, I'm locked in the other 3/4 of the enclosure. This is hell.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they all kind of have like an innate need for space. And that's why, like, we have to design such huge enclosures for some of these animals.
Well, and part of it is also they're animals and they have territories because they're animals, and viewing part of their territory as being inaccessible is stressful for them. For example, a big part of positive reinforcement is voluntary cooperation. Like, a big part of the push for this is because they want animals in care to have a voluntary positive relationship with their trainers. But sometimes for very obvious reasons. You might need to close the door behind them so that they don't just like walk out of the room and go bite a child.
Naturally.
But that is technically, that's not voluntary. Like they are now in that area for however long because they can't go where they want, because you can't give them unrestricted freedom or else they'd just be wild animals, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The sort of wall that you run into is there is a limit to how voluntary these things can be, but when you have marine mammals that have been trained for like a decade or longer, like these guys have, our guys are all at least 11 or older, I think, or like around 10 at least, and training them like all throughout the day, every day, it's gotten to the point where they're so used to the positive reinforcement, they're so trusting in the process, and they've gotten, frankly, so good at it that an entire day's worth of their diet can just be fed out through training sessions just because they're willing to do it voluntarily. Like if they don't cooperate, the worst that happens to them is we just stand there and don't give them the treat and don't give them the indication that they did something correctly. So a lot of the basics for this kind of stuff are in the book Don't Shoot the Dog, which has some pretty...
I wasn't gonna.
I wasn't gonna, dude.
I wasn't fucking gonna. Who the hell are you talking to?
There's like some summaries of it, but you know, whether you know it or not, you're already doing reinforcement training in some aspect of your life, but especially with dogs. The example the book uses is a child is tantruming in the store for candy. The parent gives in and lets the child have a candy bar. The tantruming is positively reinforced by the candy, but the more powerful event is that the parent is negatively reinforced for giving in, since the public tantrum, so aversive and embarrassing for the parent, actually stopped. Interesting. So a big part of animal training is you got to be careful because it is easy to accidentally reinforce bad behavior if you're not doing it intentionally with all the right like structures in place, like the bridges and the reinforcement schedules. And reinforcement schedules are like the other half of this equation beyond the quadrant. So there's continuous reinforcement, partial reinforcement, fixed ratio schedules, variable ratio schedules, and fixed interval schedules. There's basically, it's a little confusing, but, you know, continuous reinforcement is a desired behavior is reinforced every single time it occurs. It's best used during initial stages of learning to create a strong association between that behavior and the response. But once it gets well reinforced enough, you can switch to a partial schedule of reinforcement where basically the response is reinforced only part of the time. It prevents the behavior from decaying over time, because if you don't train things constantly, animals can easily forget about the behavior or start doing it wrong. If you're not selective with like, do it exactly like this or else, you know, I'm not reinforcing it, then the behavior can start to devolve and take on other aspects because they're just guessing what you want them to do.
Yeah.
For example, sometimes when we ask our sea lions to do like a big jump in the pool, they'll do like a spinning jump. And it's like, I don't know why you added the spin. I'm sorry, but I can't reinforce that because I didn't ask you to do a spin.
But it's cool as fuck, though.
It is kind of cool as fuck.
Though.
So there's continuous reinforcement and partial reinforcement, and then there's the interval schedules. Fixed ratio schedules reinforce a response only after a specified number of responses. Variable ratio schedules occur when a response is reinforced after an unpredictable number of responses, aka let's say pulling a lever, nothing happens. You pull the lever again, nothing happens. You pull it a third time, it gives you a huge jackpot. You seeing where I'm going with this? Things like gambling are operant conditioning because it's so easy to establish behaviors if you reward them, not every time they happen, but, you know, at an irregular, like, if you can't predict if it's going to happen or not, your brain is automatically, your lizard reptile brain is going to be like, if it happens sometimes, then it's worth doing a bunch of times. So that's part of the psychology behind why gambling physically addicts you, gets you addicted. Variable ratio schedules is what that's called. But, you know, it's very easy to see how animal training and conditioning human beings in society is the same basic operating principles. There's also fixed interval schedules where they reward a first response only after a specified amount of time has elapsed, which It's hard. I don't know. It's a bit confusing. It's not that important, but basically all you need to know is the different kinds of reinforcement with the quadrant and the schedules of reinforcement and how you can sort of vary between those depending on their familiarity with the behavior you're trying to reproduce. And also how you can use it for evil. So that's fun. But as I was saying earlier, I do think beyond general temperament and vague measures, like I think temperament and intelligence are very vague measures with no clear metrics that you can establish in animals. So you can't really say like, oh, this animal is this intelligent, so you can train it to do this amount of things. It's very hard to determine that. But I think what's more influential in that process is the fact that the Navy and like just the military in general has been using marine mammals for so long that that's probably why every aquarium in the world has such an extensive marine mammal training program, like with dolphins and seals and sea lions.
Why were the Navy doing this? What compelled them to do this?
I mean, because aquatic operations are... You got to think about how much of the Earth is underwater, you know?
Yeah. 70%.
70%, roughly.
And Boozy too.
And how useful it would be to not have to deploy in a super expensive submarine on every square inch, but like send a very fast animal with a camera strapped to its head into enemy territory or something like that.
Were these seals actually deployed during war?
Well, they were used to sniff mines, right? I'm pretty sure like several militaries across the world use some sort of marine mammal training program. So from PBS, I found the story of Navy dolphins.
Penis butt.
No. Then it says here, the Navy's marine mammal program began in 1960 with two goals. First, the Navy wanted to study the underwater sonar capabilities of dolphins and beluga whales to learn how to design more efficient methods of detecting objects underwater and to improve the speed of their boats and submarines by researching how dolphins are able to swim so fast and dive so deep. They also train belugas, dolphins, and sea lions, among other animals, to perform various underwater tasks, including delivering equipment to divers underwater, locating and retrieving lost objects, guarding boats and submarines, and doing underwater surveillance with cameras attached to their heads. That's why they were good at like identifying underwater mines. You could just send an animal in there with a camera strapped to its head, basically. And I'm sure the original idea behind it was probably like, if a dolphin gets blown up, it's not as sad, but to my understanding, the kind of people who do military training for marine mammals are generally understand that these animals are very expensive models to produce and value their lives higher than that, if for no other reason than how much effort goes into it. Some of the tasks it has them do on this timeline thing from PBS is bottlenose dolphins detect and mark underwater mines. California's sea lions attach grabber devices to underwater objects for retrieval. Dolphins defend against enemy swimmers was used in the Vietnam War and the Persian Gulf to protect Navy-anchored vessels from enemy swimmers seeking to plant explosives. The dolphins would swim slowly, patrolling the area with their sonar and alert armed trainer guards if they located a swimmer. They are also trained to tag the enemy swimmer with a marker so that the Navy personnel can apprehend him. During the Vietnam War, rumors circulated about a swimmer nullification program in which dolphins were being trained to shoot enemy swimmers with a device similar to the tagging device. Huh. The Navy does deny that existed, though, but I feel like feel like we can't really trust what they...
It's their MK Ultra. They were doing some crazy shit to those seals, dude.
Exactly.
The amount of crimes they did to those fucking little guys. No way they figured out how to make the seals do that naturally.
Something about marine mammals made it easier to work with than monkeys, because they tried monkeys briefly. We talked about this. The Air Force did, at least, and it didn't really pan out, so they sort of abandoned that. I guess it was just too expensive because the monkeys were too stubborn. So basically, this program started in the 60s, and then immediately they got deployed in Vietnam. And then in the 80s, they were used in the Persian Gulf, and... The end of the timeline here, I don't know if that's just because of how old this archived webpage is, but it says 1997, Ukrainian dolphins trained by the Soviet Navy for military operations are now being used for therapy with autistic and emotionally disturbed children. Yeah, this is definitely a webpage from the 90s. Yeah, this is from the 90s. Looks like 1959 specifically was when the marine mammal program started. They've got pictures of the modern program where they've got a picture of a seal pressing buttons to navigate an object through a maze and getting fish rewards for doing it correctly, which is stuff that monkeys can do. I don't know the extent to which they're being used today. It's probably classified the extent to which they're being used today because they're only going to show like the research side of things that are suitable for civilian scientist distribution, so on and so forth. And there's a picture of a dolphin with a tracking device leaping out of the water, like a really cool Free Willy shot in 2003 while he's clearing mines in the Persian Gulf during the Iraq War.
But the Chinese century's here.
Dude.
But, with the onset of the Chinese century and the related American century of invasive primate takeover, this may no longer be the reality that only marine mammals are being used for these kinds of programs, because from 2014, CNN reports on the Chinese PLA monkeys.
Honestly, I was thinking, so I had a crazy thought, and I was like, you know what? If the oceans rise and everything becomes underwater, and America gets invaded by fucking macaques.
Water world.
You can imagine a water world where nations are going to war at one another
water
with fucking
world.
Seals and shit, and there's rampant monkeys.
Maybe they were preparing for
water
Waterworld with this program.
Maybe they're preparing for Waterworld, but you know how in Russia versus Ukraine they're dive bombing fucking drones on each other and shit.
Yeah.
Imagine putting a bomb on a little macaque and just making him go.
They did that in Vietnam. They would booby trap the wildlife. I don't know how real this is, but my grandpa was there, and he told me that it happened a couple times where they would strap a bomb to an Asian forest elephant, strap it underneath.
No way.
And then they would just kind of slap it on the ass and get it pissed off and get it to run towards American camps and stuff. And then when it got over there, they boop, no more elephant. And
That's
no more
crazy.
American soldiers. But that happened more
more
than once.
GI pig dogs.
Here's another thing. Did you
GI
guys
go
know
home.
that tigers were on the side of the VC? They were probably killing.
Duh.
They were probably killing Vietnamese soldiers too. But more than once, a tiger would go into someone's tent at night and take a guy.
Hell yeah.
Just take a guy. I think my grandpa said something about the monkeys in Vietnam. Were they were a nuisance because they would start screaming when they walked by, and then the VC knew where they were.
I mean, so you guys remember we talked about the Air Force monkey training program and how...
Yeah, I remember.
I don't remember that one actually.
While on
Why is the Air
paper
Force training
and in the...
monkeys?
Well, do you not remember that
shit.
video of the monkey that was going through the tunnel and then it went under that tank and stopped a smoke thing from coming out? I found the
No.
video. It was archived
I
on some
remember.
website.
I don't know why Chandra doesn't.
I don't know why you don't.
explain this.
Maybe you're.
You're gonna
high
die.
for that
Stop hitting
episode.
that vape, white baby.
I'm going to live forever.
Anyways, we speculated that while ostensibly the purpose of this program was to get the monkeys to go in and grab things or quote unquote defuse bombs or disable tanks, they were probably just gonna strap bombs to the fuckers and put them in Soviet camps and just suicide bomb them.
That does kind of rip though.
And how do we achieve victory? Through jihad.
Okay, so the reality of only having extensive training for marine mammals may cease to be because May 9th, 2014, CNN, Meet the Monkeys Keeping Chinese Troops Safe. Militant monkeys keep Air Force safe.
Yep. The People's Liberation Army Force has trained macaques to keep its troops safe, just by discouraging birds from nesting near the Air Force Base.
The Chinese Air Force has a new secret weapon, monkeys. The monkeys are used in an unidentified Air Force base in northern China, which is situated right on a major migratory route for birds. When swarms of birds fly around the base, it poses a threat to military planes that are mid-flight. The birds could potentially get sucked into the plane's engines, endangering the lives of both the birds and the pilots. Well, no kidding. I think that would be pretty dangerous to the bird cell to get sucked into a jet engine.
Yeah.
So, quote, "Don't worry, we now have a secret weapon, Su Chuang." I think that's how you say that.
I don't
Try
know, man.
again.
I'm not even going to try.
Su Chuang?
Try again.
Su Chong?
One more time.
Just say it.
I'm not even looking at the article. I just figured I could get you to say this guy's name in Chinese a bunch.
Oh, fuck you. It's anyways. A high-ranking officer was quoted as saying on the PLA website, the officer was referring to the specially trained monkeys that answer to the sound of a whistle. A whistle is also
Definitely
a bridge.
Su Chong, by the way.
Okay, well.
I don't know, man. I don't know how to speak Chinese.
Chuang. Anyways, a whistle is also kind of a bridge, like a clicker. So anyways, when the nests of birds are discovered in treetops, the monkey army is deployed to remove them. The PLA have tried many different methods to remove the nests in the past, including opening fire on the nests.
That's crazy.
Using long bamboo poles to topple them out of the trees, and having soldiers climb the trees to pick them out. None of these methods were very effective. Apart from being time-consuming and dangerous for the officers who had to climb the trees, the birds kept coming back. However, when monkeys remove the nests, the birds do not return as macaques leave a scent on the branches that discourages the birds, according to the PLA's web posting.
And the end of the report wraps it up saying, the monkeys are loyal bodyguards who defend the safety of our comrades.
Hell yes,
salute
dude.
Salute our comrade macaque.
I love how impactful Mao Zedong's fucking, prose.
Kill the birds.
Well, no, I mean that, but also just how
philosophy.
impactful his prose was on, all statements put out by China. They all sound like this now. Do you know what I mean?
I can't say I do. I'm not very well read on Mao.
I gotta say, it's shit like this that lets you know the Chinese century is really here.
I mean, he is a guy who has sorry to interrupt, Greg, but he is a guy who has the little book of quotes.
Oh,
he is a big quote guy.
He's a big quote guy.
Love a quote guy.
He's kind of, okay, this is going to be insane, and I don't mean it in that way. But, his quotes are kind of like Trump's tweets. You know?
Actually, I think the reason they both resonate with a populist message so well is because they hit that, Trump has been going insane and making his tweets way too long lately. I think
I haven't read a Trump tweet in a while.
Removing the character limit on tweets for Donald has ruined his posting.
True.
He just freaks the fuck out.
It was working very
books.
well when he had a limited amount of characters.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Same idea with Mao.
This is how we know it's the Chinese century, because China is doing what America was doing in the 50s and 60s when we were on top of the world and we just had money to burn on stupid shit. Where they're like, you know what, fuck it. Let's make the monkeys do it. They're like, we could spend $1 billion training monkeys to go into the tree.
Hey, fuck it. Let's build a train to nowhere.
Yeah, that shit we were doing in the 50s. Where we were like, we just beat everybody in the world. Let's spend $1 billion on, fuck it, monkey trapping tanks.
That's where Impale Ultra came from. And I mean,
now here's my beautiful vision for the future. The PLA has been for the past 10 years developing this monkey training program in secret. They haven't, hasn't been reported on. They've been keeping it real under wraps. It's been real secret. But what I think they're doing here, when the time comes for an American ground invasion, that day that we're all waiting for with bated breath, I think that they are going to wait for the macaque population in Florida to explode to a large enough extent, give it maybe another decade, and then they're going to send in the monkeys on the beaches of Florida like fucking Normandy. just on the little pontoon boats, they all just go charging out. They meet up with the other monkeys in Florida. They just swarm the governor's palace. That's how I think it's going to start.
I think it's going to start by a Dongfeng 12 missile hitting Washington, D.C.
You think they're going for the big guns right away? Just straight.
They should.
Decapitate the head of the snake.
Sorry, I got caught up in the reverie of imagining the
I was thinking about it too. I just wanted to let everybody know at home before we wrap this shit up that it's over.
You know that weekend where missiles were falling on Tel Aviv?
I think that's going to be the high point of our lives.
Imagine the day when missiles fall on Washington.
It's not going to be as cool as you think. Because
it's going to, it's going to be that.
Because close, the next thing they do right after that is kill us all. But
I'm ready, man. Take me.
I think
I'm happy.
you know when people say the American psyche has been corrupted by the fact that we've never really been at risk for seeing fighting ourselves. Like, it's all like across the globe. The average American will never see missiles exploding in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be so
I
cool
think
when it
that
does
is
happen.
actually true, but of invasive primates. Like, I think the American psyche has been warped by the fact that there's no monkeys running around in their backyard all the time. Like, it keeps the rest of the world honest. But us, we're gonna learn real soon.
We're prideful.
Our arrogance will be torn down by the monkey hordes. They're gonna call it like the Sun Wukong division. It's gonna lay our
Hell
people
yeah.
to waste.
We can only hope, brother. All of those monkeys will achieve Jannah.
Those ones specifically only. All right. Well, I think that's an episode. We ended up talking about monkeys, so
Yeah, we did. You know what? We
Still
got the
a monkey
monkeys fit in
podcast.
there. Even though I managed to get Austin to talk about how much cum comes out of his penis for 25 minutes.
that was not
in total.
Not true.
In
Not
total? Absolutely. That's 20 minutes of this episode is us talking about how much cum
Probably,
we have.
yeah.
You know what?
So how much-
Austin
how much
is
cum
going
do you
to.
have?
You should post a tweet when you're done editing, being like, "This was the original raw file, and this is how much cum talk I cut out."
That's good. I'm gonna do that.
That's a
actually.
good
That's gonna
actually.
be a great tweet.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that being said, please, if you would like to hear all of the talk that I cut out of the podcast, subscribe to us on
Know a little bit
Patreon.
more about how much Austin comes.
Patreon.
Well, if you want to hear our blooper
Gorilla
reel,
Radio Show.
which is where all of that is going, go to patreon.com/Gorilla Radio Show or gorillaradio.show for all of our links, and subscribe to our $5 tier.
If you don't
Or
subscribe
above.
to the $5 tier, I'm going to kill myself.
If they do?
If they don't.
Oh, okay. I was going to say
Also-
that's...
And probably
If you
want
wanna kill Greg, subscribe now.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of all of our links, on our website, gorillaradio.show, you are able to access our store, and very soon you'll be able to access our store again, and we will have some new products dropping soon. I won't say too much.
Do I need to turn the goddamn store back on?
You need to turn the goddamn store back on.
It's $30 a month.
I'll let you guys
We have $30 a month.
What, we're taking money out of Austin's pantry.
True, but Olivia's
Now I
gonna
give a
sign.
shit. I'll
Olivia,
turn
okay.
the store on. I'll turn
Shop
the store
talk.
on.
Olivia's signing up for a vendor market soon and is building up inventory of their prints,
Ah,
so we can sell the corn dog prints on the Shopify.
Word.
yeah, some cute little cat prints. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Kill yourself. Kill yourself. Kill yourself. Kill yourself.
I may be a white boy, but I'm not stupid.